The cold marble bites into Tanya Gary's knees, but she's stopped registering physical pain. Kneeling in the center of the DeLuca Estates Judgment Hall, she keeps her breathing steady, eyes fixed on the digital timer counting down beside her, 80 seconds. Around her, men in expensive suits form a semicircle, their faces carved from stone and shadow. All in favor of immediate execution, the family consigliere announces, his voice echoing off vaulted ceilings dripping with crystal chandeliers. Hands rise like a wave of condemnation. 10, 15. Every single member of the DeLuca crime family voting for her death. Tanya's pulse hammers in her throat, but she doesn't move. Begging would only amuse them. She learned that 6 months ago when she started working here, invisible among the blood money and marble columns. Now she's the center of attention for all the wrong reasons. The accused stands guilty of theft, the consigliere continues, reading from a leather-bound ledger as if sentencing her is just another business transaction. The Sang diamond, property of this family containing information vital to our survival, was found hidden in the defendant's quarters. Lies. All lies. But Tanya knows better than to protest. She saw the evidence they planted, felt the walls closing in as they discovered the jewel under her mattress. The setup was flawless. Her word means nothing against the DeLuca dynasty. The penalty for such betrayal is death, the consigliere states flatly. Immediate. Public. Final. The timer reads 1 minute and 20 seconds now. 70 seconds until a bullet ends everything. Marco DeLuca steps forward from the shadows, a cruel smile playing at his lips. The underboss, Costello's cousin, has always looked at her like she's something to be scraped off his Italian leather shoes. For the record, he says smoothly, addressing the room, I advocate we make an example of this one. Can't have the help thinking they can steal from us without consequences. Murmurs of agreement ripple through the assembly. Someone laughs, cold cutting. Tanya forces herself to breathe. She thinks of her grandmother who raised her in a Cleveland neighborhood where survival meant keeping your head down and your mouth shut. Where being invisible was a superpower. Worked there. But here? In this world of blood oaths and million-dollar crimes? Being invisible just made her the perfect scapegoat. Any objections? The consigliere asks, though it's clearly rhetorical. The vote was unanimous. Silence stretches across the judgment hall like the moment before an execution. Because that's exactly what this is. 50 seconds. The executioner steps forward. A broad man with dead eyes who's done this hundreds of times before. He checks his weapon with practiced efficiency. The metallic click of the gun being loaded makes Tanya's stomach twist, but she won't give them the satisfaction of seeing her crumble. 40 seconds. She doesn't even deny it, someone mutters from the back. Probably guilty as sin. What's she gonna say? Another voice responds. They caught her red-handed. Diamond was right there in her room. Tanya closes her eyes, trying to find some fragment of peace in her final moments. She prays, something she hasn't done since her grandmother's funeral. Please let it be quick. Let it not hurt. Let me go with some dignity intact. 30 seconds. Wait. The single word cuts through the air like a blade through silk. Every head turns. The executioner freezes mid-motion. Even the timer seems to pause, stuck at 28 seconds. Costello DeLuca emerges from the shadows at the back of the hall, and the temperature in the room drops 10 degrees. He's dressed in a black suit that probably costs more than Tanya earned in a year, his dark hair perfectly styled, his presence commanding absolute attention. The boss. The king of the Cleveland underworld. A man who's built an empire on ruthlessness and has never shown mercy to anyone. And he's looking directly at her. Boss, the consigliere stammers, clearly caught off guard. The vote was unanimous. The law is clear. I'm aware of the law, Costello interrupts, his voice low and dangerous. He moves through the assembly like a panther through tall grass, elegant, lethal. I'm also aware of another law. One that supersedes your vote. Marco's face darkens. Costello, what are you? Under Article 7 of the Family Code, Costello announces, his gaze never leaving Tanya's, I invoke the Protector Clause. The room erupts. Shouts of protest. Gasps of shock. The consigliere drops his ledger. You can't be serious, Marco snarls, stepping forward. The Protector Clause hasn't been invoked in 3 decades. And yet it remains law, Costello says calmly. He stops directly in front of Tanya, so close she can smell his cologne. Something expensive and dangerous like him. I claim this woman under my personal protection. Her life is mine to defend. Her death is mine to decide. And anyone who touches her. His eyes sweep the room, landing on Marco with particular intensity. Dies by my hand. 20 seconds on the timer. But it might as well be frozen. Costello extends his hand to her. It's an elegant hand she notices distantly. Strong. Scarred across the knuckles. The hand of a man who's killed and built an empire with equal efficiency. Tanya stares at that offered hand, her mind reeling. This is the man she's watched from the shadows for 6 months. Ruthless. Untouchable. A man who once executed someone at the dinner table for disrespect. Who rules his organization through fear and absolute control. Why would he save her? Take my hand, Tanya, he says quietly, and it's the first time he's ever spoken her name. The first time he's acknowledged she exists beyond being part of the mansion's invisible staff. Her fingers are trembling as she places them in his palm. His grip is warm, steady, absolute. He pulls her to her feet with surprising gentleness, but when he turns to face the assembly, there's nothing gentle about his expression. This woman is under my protection, effective immediately. The execution is cancelled. The charges are suspended pending my personal investigation. Anyone who has a problem with this can challenge me directly. Nobody moves. Nobody breathes. Marco's face is purple with rage. You're making a mistake. She's guilty. The evidence will be reviewed, Costello cuts him off. By me. Until then she's mine. Is that understood? The word mine sends a shiver down Tanya's spine. She doesn't know if she's been saved or claimed by something more dangerous than execution. Meeting adjourned, Costello declares. He doesn't wait for confirmation, just turns and walks toward the exit, his hand still gripping Tanya's, pulling her along with him. As they pass through the assembly, she feels eyes burning into her back. Hatred. Confusion. Suspicion. She catches Marco's gaze. Pure venom. A promise that this isn't over. The moment they step into the private corridor outside the judgment hall, the enormity of what just happened crashes over her. The most powerful, most feared man in Ohio just shattered decades of family tradition. For her. A maid he's never even spoken to before. Why? She whispers, her voice finally breaking. Costello stops walking but doesn't turn around, doesn't release her hand. Because, he says quietly, I don't let what's mine get destroyed. Before she can process those words, the possessiveness, the implication, his phone buzzes. He pulls it out with his free hand and Tanya sees his jaw tighten as he reads the screen. Problem? She asks, surprised by her own boldness. He turns then and for the first time she sees something flicker in his dark eyes. Something that might be concern. Or fury. Or both. They're not done with you yet, he says. Come. We have very little time. As he leads her deeper into the mansion, toward the private wing where only the boss is allowed, Tanya realizes with absolute certainty. She just traded one kind of death sentence for something far more complicated. And somewhere in the judgment hall behind them, Marco DeLuca pulls out his phone and types a single message. The boss has gone soft. Begin phase 2. Before we dive deeper into Tanya and Costello's dangerous world, let me ask you something. Are you team run from the dangerous Mafia boss, or team stay and fight for love? Drop a comment and let me know. And hey, if you're already hooked by this forbidden romance, smash that like button and subscribe so you never miss a chapter of their story. Also, I'm curious, where in the world are you watching from? Are you reading this from your cozy bed at midnight, or are you sneaking this story during your lunch break? Tell me in the comments. Now let's get back to Costello and Tanya before things get even more dangerous. The elevator rises in silence, 43 floors of steel and glass separating Tanya from the judgment hall below. Costello stands beside her, close enough that she can feel the heat radiating from his body, far enough that she can't read his expression. His hand still grips hers, not gently but not cruelly either. Like she's something valuable that might shatter if he lets go. The doors open to reveal a penthouse that makes her breath catch. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlook Cleveland's glittering skyline, but the glass is thick, bulletproof, she realizes. Crystal chandeliers cast fractured light across marble floors and leather furniture that probably costs more than her entire life. It's beautiful. Suffocating. A gilded cage. Costello releases her hand and moves to the bar with practiced ease. He pours amber liquid into 2 crystal glasses, his movements precise, controlled. Everything about him screams danger wrapped in expensive suits. Sit, he commands without looking at her. Tanya's legs carry her to the leather sofa before her mind catches up. She's still wearing her maid's uniform, black dress, white apron, both stained with the sweat of fear. She doesn't belong here. He hands her a glass, and when their fingers brush, electricity shoots up her arm. His eyes meet hers, dark, unreadable, intense enough to make her forget how to breathe. Do you know what the protector clause means? He asks, settling into the chair across from her. Close. Too close. You said it's protection. It's ownership, he interrupts, swirling his whiskey. Ancient law. Rarely invoked because of what it demands. You belong to me now, Tanya. Completely. Until your innocence is proven, you're mine to guard, mine to command, mine to... He pauses, something flickering in his eyes. Mine to kill if it comes to that. The whiskey burns her throat, but not as much as his words burn her chest. If you're guilty, he continues, voice dropping lower, I must execute you myself. Family law demands it. If you betray me in any way, I die with you. Our fates are bound. He leans forward, elbows on his knees, close enough that his cologne overwhelms her. Sandalwood, smoke, danger. Do you understand what I risked down there? Why? The word tears from her throat, raw and desperate. Why would you risk everything for a maid you don't even know? Something shifts in his expression, a crack in the marble facade. He sets down his glass and stands, closing the distance between them in 2 strides. His hand catches her chin, tilting her face up, and Tanya's heart hammers so violently she's certain he can see it. Because Tanya Gary, he says, each word deliberate, I've been watching you for 6 months. The way you move through my house like a ghost. Never asking for anything. Never belonging. His thumb brushes her jawline and she trembles. You made yourself invisible. But I saw you. Every single day. She can't speak. Can't think. His face is inches from hers and she should be terrified. This man kills people, rules an empire built on blood, but all she feels is heat. And I don't let what's mine get destroyed, he whispers. His phone buzzes, shattering the moment. Costello pulls back, jaw tightening as he checks the screen. His expression darkens from smoldering to deadly in seconds. What is it? Tanya asks, finding her voice. He doesn't answer. Instead, he moves to a wall panel, pressing his palm against it. A hidden screen emerges, displaying security footage, her old room in the servants' quarters. They're not done with you yet, he says quietly. On the monitor, a figure in black moves through her room with practiced efficiency, lifting her mattress, planting something underneath. The timestamp reads 9:47 p.m., less than an hour ago, while she was in the judgment hall fighting for her life. Rewind it, Tanya breathes. Go back. Costello's fingers fly across the controls, enhancing the image. The masked figure reaches for the mattress and for a split second their sleeve pulls back. There, gleaming in the low light, is a ring. Gold. Ornate. Unmistakable. The DeLuca family crest. Costello's hand curls into a fist. Someone in the inner circle is framing you. Someone close. Tanya's blood runs cold as understanding crashes over her. This isn't just about her. Someone wants Costello destroyed. And she's the weapon they're using to do it. Who? She whispers. He zooms in on the ring and his expression transforms into something savage. Something that reminds her exactly who she's standing next to. That, he says softly, dangerously, is what we're going to find out. The bedroom Costello assigns her is obscene in its luxury. Silk sheets, a bed large enough for 3 people, windows that overlook the city like a kingdom laid out for conquest. But Tanya barely notices. Her eyes fix on the door connecting her room to his, unlocked, slightly ajar. Close enough to hear him breathe through the walls. For your protection, he'd said, voice flat, eyes burning with something that had nothing to do with protection. Now it's 2 a.m. and sleep is impossible. Every creak of the floorboard sounds like footsteps. Every shadow looks like Marco's vengeful face. She's hyper-aware of Costello's presence beyond that door. A predator resting between kills. Movement. The soft click of a lamp. Tanya slips from bed, bare feet silent on cold marble, and peers through the crack. Costello sits in his study, shirtless, muscle and scars painted in lamplight. Blood-spattered reports spread across his desk like carnage made bureaucratic. He's reviewing a territorial war with the efficiency of a man who deals death as casually as signing contracts. Dangerous. Violent. Everything she should run from. He looks up, catches her staring. Can't sleep. Her throat goes dry. Neither can you. A ghost of a smile. I don't sleep much. He gestures to the chair across from him and she moves before thinking, drawn like gravity. Up close, the scars tell stories. Knife wounds, bullet grazes, survival. His eyes are darker than she remembered, haunted in ways she recognizes from her own mirror. My father executed my mother when I was 12, he says suddenly, voice flat. She made him weak, he said. Showed mercy to an enemy's child. 3 days later, that enemy killed 6 of our men. He pours whiskey, doesn't drink it. He made me watch. Taught me that mercy is a death sentence in this world. Tanya's breath catches. I inherited this empire at 25. Built it bigger, bloodier, stronger. His jaw tightens. Everyone I've ever cared about dies, Tanya. That's why I don't care. But the way he looks at her, like she's oxygen and he's drowning, betrays every word. An alarm shatters the moment. Red lights pulse. Costello's on his feet instantly, pulling weapons from hidden compartments with practiced precision. Rival family, he says coldly. Attacking our warehouse. Tanya's hand shoots out, grabs his wrist. Don't die on me. I'm not ready to be alone with these vipers. He freezes. His free hand cups her face, thumb brushing her lips with devastating gentleness. He leans in, close enough she can taste his breath, feel the heat of violence barely contained, then pulls away. Wait for me, he whispers and vanishes into the night. Hours crawl past like years. Dawn breaks gray and unforgiving. Then footsteps. Heavy. Purposeful. Costello appears in her doorway and Tanya's heart stops. He's covered in blood. It drips from his knuckles, stains his torn shirt, decorates his face like war paint. But he's moving, breathing, alive. He crosses the room in 3 strides, kicks the door shut and crashes his lips against hers. The kiss is brutal. Desperate. It tastes like gunpowder and copper and something raw that makes her knees buckle. His hands grip her waist, pulling her against his blood-soaked body, and she should be horrified but instead she's burning. When he pulls back, his forehead rests against hers, breath ragged. I killed 12 men tonight, he whispers against her mouth. And all I thought about was coming back to you. Morning light cuts through the penthouse like accusation. Costello stands at the windows, perfectly dressed, perfectly controlled, as if he didn't kiss her like a drowning man gasping for air 6 hours ago. When Tanya enters, his eyes track her movement with predatory precision, but his voice is ice. Coffee's on the counter. Don't leave this floor without security. That's it. No acknowledgement. No explanation. Just cold distance and burning stares that contradict every word from his mouth. Fine. Tanya can play invisible. She's been doing it her whole life. She waits until he leaves for a meeting, then slips away, exploring the mansion's forbidden east wing. Past armed guards who've been told to let her pass, through corridors thick with dust and memory, until she finds it. A garden shrine, overgrown but carefully maintained. Fresh flowers. A photograph. A woman with kind eyes and Costello's sharp jawline. His mother, Lucia. The voice makes Tanya spin. An elderly woman with silver hair stands in the doorway. Rosa, the head housekeeper. Beautiful, wasn't she? Too kind for this world. Rosa's eyes cloud. Costello's father poisoned her. Said she made the boy soft, taught him mercy. 3 days after her death, he made Costello his first kill. The boy was 12. Tanya's stomach turns. Why are you telling me this? Because history repeats in this family. Rosa's gaze holds warning and sympathy. And you've already made him soft. That evening, the dining hall glitters with crystal and menace. Underbosses fill the table, Marco prominent among them, smiling like a shark. Costello sits at the head, distant king surveying his court, but Tanya feels his awareness like heat against her skin. A server approaches with wine, placing a glass before her. Standard protocol. Nothing unusual. Except Costello's entire body goes rigid. He watches the servers retreat, too quick, shoulders too tense, and in one fluid motion he reaches across the table and grabs Tanya's glass. Costello, what? He drinks it in one swallow. For 3 seconds nothing happens. Then his body convulses violently, glass shattering as it hits the floor. Blood vessels burst in his eyes. Foam flecks his lips. Tanya screams. Chaos erupts. Guards rushing, Marco shouting orders, bodies swarming. They carry Costello to the medical room, and Tanya runs behind them, heart demolishing her ribcage. Doctors work with controlled panic, pumping his stomach, injecting counteragents. Tanya hovers by the bed, useless, terrified, watching the most dangerous man she knows fight poison meant for her. His hand shoots out like a striking snake, fingers closing around her throat. Not to hurt. To pull her close. Half-conscious, pupils blown, he rasps against her ear. See what you make me do. His grip trembles. I should kill you, I should never have. The words dissolve into Italian, broken and raw. His hand softens to a caress against her neck. But I can't. Dio miedi, I can't. Then he's unconscious again and Tanya's left holding his hand like a lifeline. She doesn't leave. Not when doctors urge her to rest. Not when Rosa brings food she can't eat. Not when night bleeds into dawn. At sunrise his eyes open, clear, focused, alive. Tanya. Her name on his lips sounds like prayer and curse combined. He pulls her onto the bed with surprising strength, hand cradling her face and kisses her with agonizing tenderness. Nothing like the violence before. This is worship. Apology. Surrender. I drank poison for you, he murmurs against her mouth. What does that make me? Wine, she whispers back and feels him shudder. How touching. They break apart. Marco stands in the doorway, having bypassed every security measure, wearing triumph-like cologne. The king laid low by love. This is going to be easier than I thought. He drops a file on the floor. Photographs spill out. Tanya, meeting with unknown men in dark alleys, exchanging envelopes, conspiring. Explain these, little maid. Marco's smile is poison. Or should I? The photographs scatter across the floor like evidence at a crime scene. Costello sits on the edge of the medical bed, still pale from poison, eyes colder than Tanya's ever seen them. When he speaks, his voice could freeze blood. Tell me why I shouldn't put a bullet in your head right now. Marco leans against the doorframe, watching the show with barely contained glee. Guards flank the exits. Tanya's trapped, weaponless, facing down a man who kills without hesitation. She should beg. Plead innocence. Cry. Instead she lifts her chin. If you believed I was guilty, you would have let me die at the execution. Her voice doesn't shake. You know I'm being framed. Something flickers behind Costello's marble facade. You have no proof. Neither do you. Just doctored photos and Marco's convenient timing. She takes a step closer, reckless, desperate. You drank poison meant for me. That means something. It means I'm a fool, he says quietly. But his hand reaches out, fingers brushing her wrist, checking her pulse, feeling her alive. Marco straightens. Costello, you can't possibly. Get out. Costello's voice drops to lethal. Now. The council won't. I said, get out. Marco's face purples with rage, but he leaves, slamming the door hard enough to rattle the frame. Silence stretches. Then Costello pulls Tanya closer, studying her face like he's memorizing evidence. You're either innocent or the best liar I've ever met. I'm innocent. Then we prove it. He stands, steadier now despite the poison still working through his system. Together. His private office smells like leather and secrets. Security monitors cover one wall. Every camera, every angle, every hidden corner of his empire laid bare. Costello grants her access with a few keystrokes, a level of trust that could destroy him. They work through the night, reviewing footage frame by frame, cross-referencing timestamps, tracking inconsistencies. Their shoulders brush. His hand covers hers on the mouse. The proximity becomes electric, unbearable. I noticed you the first day you arrived, he says suddenly, eyes still on the screen. The way you moved through my mansion like a ghost. Never asking for anything. Never belonging. He turns to face her, and the raw honesty in his expression steals her breath. You made me feel something I thought died with my mother. And that's more dangerous than any enemy. Tanya's hand covers his, fingers interlacing. Then we survive it together. He makes a sound, half laugh, half groan, and suddenly she's being lifted onto the desk, monitors forgotten, investigation abandoned. His mouth claims hers with desperate hunger, hands sliding up her thighs, grip possessive enough to bruise. Tell me to stop, he rasps against her throat. No. She pulls him closer, nails digging into his shoulders. Don't you dare stop. What follows is raw, consuming. Possession becoming passion, surrender becoming power. He worships her like revelation and takes her like conquest. And when she falls apart in his arms, he follows with her name on his lips like a prayer to a god he doesn't believe in. They stay tangled together as breathing slows, hearts synchronizing, the city glittering beyond the windows like a kingdom on fire. Dawn breaks too soon. Costello's phone shatters the moment, harsh, insistent. Marco's voice through the speaker drips with venom. Costello, the council's called an emergency meeting. You're wanted for questioning. Accusation. Compromising family security for a woman. They want to vote on your leadership. Costello's jaw tightens, but his hand stays gentle on Tanya's hip. Marco's voice drops, intimate and dangerous. Bring the girl. Let's see if she's worth destroying everything you've built. The line goes dead. Tanya meets Costello's eyes, seeing her own fear reflected back. What happens if they vote against you? His thumb traces her cheekbone with devastating tenderness. Then we both die. He kisses her softly, thoroughly, like it might be the last time. But not without taking half of them with us. The council chamber rises like a cathedral built for sinners. Vaulted ceilings, stained glass windows depicting angels and demons locked in eternal war, long table carved from black mahogany that's witnessed decades of blood oaths and betrayals. 20 underbosses fill the seats, predators dressed in expensive suits, every face calculating odds of survival. Marco presides from Costello's right hand, serpent's smile fixed in place like he's already won. Tanya stands beside Costello at the head of the table, feeling eyes dissect her from every angle. His hand hovers near hers, close enough to feel his heat, far enough to maintain the facade of professional distance. But she knows the truth now. Knows how that hand feels gripping her thigh, cradling her face, worshipping her body like sacred ground. The evidence is compelling, Marco announces, spreading documents across the table with theatrical precision. Intercepted messages. Bank transfers to offshore accounts. Meetings with the Rossetti family, our enemies. He looks at Tanya with mock sympathy. All pointing to Miss Gary as a spy. And our boss. He pauses, letting the word hang like noose, compromised. Murmurs ripple through the assembly. Some faces show doubt. Others hunger. Costello's voice cuts through the noise like blade through silk. You present fabrications and call them evidence. He doesn't raise his voice, doesn't need to. Authority radiates from him like heat. I've led this family for 8 years. Every territory we've claimed, every rival we've crushed, every dollar we've earned, that's my legacy. Question it at your peril. An older underboss speaks up. No one questions your past, Costello. But this woman is under my protection, Costello interrupts, steel wrapped in silk. Invoking the protector clause binds our fates. Attack her, you attack me. Marco leans forward, eyes glittering. Then let us interrogate her. Standard procedure. If she's innocent, she has nothing to fear. The room shifts. Agreements murmured. Trap closing. No. The single word from Costello freezes everyone. Boss, be reasonable. Costello's gun clears the holster in one fluid motion, barrel aimed directly at Marco's forehead. The click of the safety echoes like thunder. You want her? Come through me. The room explodes. Chairs scraping, hands reaching for weapons, voices overlapping in chaos. But no one moves. Because Costello de Luca doesn't bluff and everyone here knows it. Marco's composure cracks. Just for a heartbeat, fear flickering behind his eyes before control returns. This is exactly what I mean. Compromised. Irrational. Irrational. Costello's smile is sharp enough to cut. Then produce the Sang diamond. If the theft is real, where is it? Silence. Heavy. Damning. Marco's jaw tightens. The investigation is ongoing. Convenient. Costello holsters his weapon with deliberate calm. A vote then. Standard protocol. Who stands with me? Hands rise. Not all. Not enough. But more than Marco expected. The oldest councilman, Antonio, gray-haired and scarred, speaks carefully. Temporary reprieve. The girl remains confined under guard until the diamond is recovered or evidence conclusive. You have 48 hours, Costello. After that. He doesn't finish. Doesn't need to. The vote passes. Narrow. Dangerous. Enforcers approach to escort Tanya away. She meets Costello's eyes, sees fury and calculation and something that looks like regret. His hand catches hers for one brief moment, hidden from view beneath the table. Trust me, he whispers against her ear as guards close in. When the sun sets tomorrow, you'll be free or we'll both be dead. The East Wing Tower is medieval in its isolation. Stone walls, barred windows, single door with guards posted outside. Tanya paces like a caged animal, mind racing through possibilities, each one ending in blood. Midnight arrives with the soft scrape of paper on stone. She freezes. Someone's sliding something under the door. The note is handwritten, elegant script on expensive paper. I know you're innocent. I know who framed you. And I know how to prove it. But you have to trust me. G. Tanya's heart hammers. Who the hell is G? She presses her ear to the door, hearing nothing but distant footsteps fading into darkness. Whoever left this bypassed armed guards and security systems to reach her. The note burns in her hands like prophecy or poison, she can't tell which. The stone wall beside Tanya's bed shifts with a grinding whisper. A hidden panel slides open, revealing darkness and a figure emerging from shadows like something out of a ghost story. Tanya's fist cocks back, ready to fight when moonlight catches the intruder's face. A woman. Young, maybe 23, with Costello's sharp cheekbones and their mother's kind eyes. Dark hair pulled back severely, dressed in black tactical gear that's seen use. She moves with the fluid precision of someone trained to kill. Easy, the woman says, hands raised. I'm not here to hurt you. Who the hell are you? Gianna De Luca. A bitter smile. Costello's sister. The one everyone thinks is safely studying art history in Florence. Tanya's mind races. Costello never mentioned a sister. But then again, in a world where family kills family, maybe hiding your loved ones is the ultimate protection. Gianna closes the panel behind her, producing a tablet from her bag. I've been living in the mansion's secret passages for 4 months. Watching. Listening. Gathering evidence. Her fingers swipe through files. Photographs, audio recordings, bank statements. Marco orchestrated everything. He stole the Sang diamond himself, framed you to destabilize Costello, knowing my brothers. She pauses, searching for words. Feelings for you would give Marco the leverage to seize control. Why tell me? Why not Costello? Because Marco has eyes everywhere. Guards on his payroll. Council members in his pocket. If I approach Costello directly, we're both dead before dawn. Gianna hands Tanya a burner phone and unfolds blueprints across the bed. The proof is in Marco's private office. 3rd floor, east corridor. Surveillance logs showing him planting the diamond in your room. The diamond itself. Records of bribes paid to council members who voted against Costello today. Tanya stares at the blueprints, her stomach dropping. That's the most secure part of the mansion. I know. Gianna circles the safe location with her finger. Which is why you have to get it yourself. I can't risk being seen. If Marco knows I'm alive, he'll use me against Costello. Her eyes hold challenge and desperation. You have to break out of this room, infiltrate his office, crack the safe and return before dawn. 4 hours. That's impossible. Is it? Gianna's voice hardens. Costello broke every rule for you. Invoked ancient law. Drank poison. Pulled a gun on his own council. Now you break yours for him. She grips Tanya's shoulders. Become the woman who can stand beside a king, or watch him die protecting you. The words hit like a physical blow. Tanya thinks of Costello's hands worshipping her body, his confession that she makes him feel alive, the way he chose her over everything he's built. She thinks of 12 men dead because he couldn't stop thinking about coming back to her. Tell me how to crack the safe, Tanya says, voice steady. Gianna's smile is sharp, approving. That's the sister-in-law I was hoping for. 20 minutes later, Tanya crouches by her door with a hairpin bent into a makeshift lockpick. Gianna disappeared back into the walls, leaving her with tools, instructions, and the crushing weight of impossible odds. The lock clicks. Freedom tastes like terror. He peers through the crack. 2 guards stand watch in the hallway, large men armed, alert. No way past them. No weapon. No plan. Then she remembers Costello's voice, low and dangerous in the darkness. In this world, you survive by being more vicious than your enemies expect. Tanya takes a breath, smooths her dress and steps into the hall. Both guards spin toward her, hands reaching for weapons. She meets their eyes with manufactured calm, channeling every ounce of authority she's watched Costello wield. Marco sent me to you. He has orders. The guards exchange glances. Hesitation. Doubt. New orders, she continues, voice cold. Immediate. The taller one frowns. We weren't informed. That's the point. Tanya steps closer, gambling everything. He doesn't trust the usual channels. Too many leaks. She lets the implication hang. Are you loyal or are you the leak? The mansion's secret passages smell like centuries. Dust and stone and forgotten violence. Tanya moves through darkness with only her phone's dim glow and Gianna's whispered directions crackling through the earpiece. Left at the next junction. Camera blind spot for 8 seconds. Move. Tanya runs, heart demolishing her ribcage, pressing against cold stone as a patrol passes inches away. Sweat slides down her spine. One wrong turn means death. One sound means discovery. 3rd floor. Marco's office is 20 feet ahead. 2 guards outside the door. Tanya peers through a crack in the wall panel. The guards look bored, checking phones, unaware. She waits for the shift change Gianna predicted, 3 minutes that feel like hours, then slips through when they swap positions, a ghost in borrowed darkness. Marco's office is obscene luxury, mahogany desk, leather chairs, walls lined with trophies from people he's destroyed. Photos of enemies before they died. A signed baseball from a senator he owns. Everything calculated to project power. The safe sits behind a painting of angels falling from heaven. Subtle. Tanya's fingers shake as she inputs the code Gianna extracted from Marco's deleted emails. The mechanism clicks. Opens. Inside, the Sang diamond catches moonlight and bleeds it back in crimson fractals. But that's not what steals her breath. Files. Dozens of them. Years of conspiracy meticulously documented. Bribes, murders, plans within plans. And one folder marked Lucia De Luca. Tanya opens it. Reads. Feels her blood turn to ice. Marco murdered Costello's mother. Not their father. Marco poisoned her to remove her softening influence on young Costello, then blamed the father, knowing it would forge Costello into the ruthless weapon Marco could eventually destroy. Jesus, Tanya breathes. She photographs everything with shaking hands. Evidence of treason, murder, decades of betrayal. The diamond goes into her pocket. She's almost done when voices echo in the hallway. Marco's voice. Close. Too close. Tomorrow at church. During communion when he's kneeling like the fool he is. Tanya kills her phone light, pressing into shadows behind the curtains as the door opens. Marco enters with 3 lieutenants, all armed, all relaxed because they think they've already won. The plan is perfect, Marco continues, pouring whiskey. Costello dies. Tanya takes the blame. The council fractures in chaos and I step in to restore order. He laughs, cold cutting. The fool thinks love makes him strong. He'll die learning it made him weak. Tanya doesn't breathe. Doesn't move. Her phone is a weight in her pocket that might buzz, might betray her, might end everything. The lieutenants drink. Discuss logistics. Exit strategies. How to divide Costello's empire like vultures over a corpse. Finally they leave. Tanya waits 30 seconds that feel eternal, then runs. She's halfway down the corridor when an enforcer rounds the corner. Their eyes meet. His hand reaches for his radio. Tanya moves on pure instinct, grabbing a decorative vase and smashing it across his temple. He staggers. She runs, his shouts echoing behind her, alarms beginning to wail. The chase becomes a nightmare. Corridors blurring, gunshots cracking marble, her breath burning like acid. She fights when cornered, a guard's knife slicing her arm before she gets past him. Blood streams hot and copper-tasting. The secret passages. She finds the panel, throws herself through, hears guards searching, cursing, too large to follow. He climbs. Runs. Climbs more. Her vision blurs. The penthouse elevator. Private. Requires Costello's fingerprint or code. She punches in the emergency override Gianna gave her, gambling everything on betrayal or salvation. The doors open. Costello stands at the windows, holding whiskey he's not drinking, shoulders tight with the weight of kingdoms. He turns when the elevator dings, expecting guards with reports. Instead, Tanya stumbles out, bloodied, gasping, dress torn, the sang diamond and files clutched against her chest like sacred relics. Tanya. His voice cracks, something she's never heard before. How did you? She throws the files at his feet. They scatter like prophecy. It was Marco. All of it. Her lungs heave. And he's going to kill you tomorrow at church. Costello crosses the distance in 3 strides, pulling her into his arms with desperate force. She feels him tremble, actually tremble as he buries his face in her hair. You magnificent, terrifying woman. He breathes against her temple. His hands map her injuries with barely contained violence. You broke out. Infiltrated. Risked everything. For you, she interrupts. I did it for you. He pulls back just enough to see her face, and the raw emotion in his eyes could level cities. You just started a war. Good, Tanya says, gripping his shirt. Let's finish it. Dawn bleeds red across Cleveland's skyline, painting the penthouse in shades of war. Costello moves through his armory with lethal efficiency, handguns, rifles, knives that have tasted blood before. His most loyal soldiers assemble in silence, men who've bled for him and would die without question. Tanya watches from the doorway, dressed in tactical black Gianna provided, every nerve screaming that she should be terrified. Instead she feels crystalline clarity. You should stay here, Costello says without looking at her, loading a clip with practiced precision. Let me handle. No. Her voice cuts like glass. You made me your equal when you invoked the Protector Clause. Now let me fight like one. He turns then, something fierce and proud burning in his eyes. Without a word, he hands her a Glock 19. Their fingers brush and electricity arcs between them. Come, he commands. The shooting range in the basement echoes with their footsteps. Costello positions her, his body pressing against her back, arms guiding hers into proper stance. His breath is warm against her ear, his touch both instruction and worship. Aim for the heart, he murmurs, hands adjusting her grip. Never hesitate. Mercy is for the dead. She fires. The target's center explodes. Again. They train until her muscles ache and her aim is lethal, until his hands on her body feel like home and warfare, until the line between violence and devotion blurs completely. The Church of San Marco rises against morning light like a monument to hypocrisy, marble columns, gilded crucifixes, stained glass depicting saints who never had blood on their hands. The De Luca family fills the pews, faces pious, souls damned, pretending they're not monsters in expensive suits. Costello and Tanya enter together. A united front. A declaration. Heads turn. Whispers ripple. Marco sits in the front pew watching them with a smile that promises death. The priest begins mass. Latin phrases echo off vaulted ceilings. Communion approaches. The moment Marco chose for murder, when Costello would kneel vulnerable before God. The priest raises the chalice. The body of Christ. Marco's men draw weapons. The church explodes into chaos. Stained glass shatters as bullets tear through angels and demons alike. Screams mix with gunfire. Blood spatters across marble that's seen centuries of prayers. Costello moves like vengeance incarnate, returning fire with cold precision, his body shielding Tanya even as she shoots beside him. They fight as one, him covering her reloads, her watching his blind spots, together becoming something more lethal than either alone. Bodies drop. The air thick with cordite and copper. Costello battles toward Marco, who's retreating toward the altar, and Tanya sees the trap too late. Stop. Marco's voice cuts through violence. Gianna kneels at the altar, a gun pressed to her temple, Marco's lieutenant holding her with cruel efficiency. She's bleeding from a head wound, defiant even in captivity. Costello freezes. His gun trained on Marco, but the angle's wrong, the shot impossible without risking his sister. Choose, brother, Marco says, spreading his arms like a priest offering benediction. Your sister or your whore. Tanya sees Costello's face crack. The impossible choice, love against love, both outcomes destroying him. She doesn't let him choose. Her shot is clean, perfect, everything he taught her. The lieutenant's head snaps back, Gianna dropping as his grip fails. In the chaos, Costello surges forward. Marco fires. Miss. Costello's fist connects with his jaw, sending him sprawling across the altar. They face each other in the ruined sanctuary, both wounded, both armed, blood mixing with holy water. Marco's lip is split, Costello's shoulder bleeding from a graze. You think you won? Marco snarls, spitting blood. Even if you kill me, the family will never accept her. They'll hunt you both until you're dead. Costello's response is to drop his gun. It clatters against marble like a death knell. Then we'll die together, he says quietly. But you die alone. He attacks with bare hands. Primal, savage, decades of betrayal channeled into pure violence. They crash through pews, fists breaking bone, blood painting marble. Marco fights dirty, but Costello fights with the fury of a man who has everything to lose. It ends at the altar. Costello's hands close around Marco's throat, squeezing with inexorable pressure, watching life drain from eyes that share his blood. Marco chokes, gasping, but forces words through crushed windpipe. I didn't frame her to destroy you. I framed her because I saw how you looked at her, and I knew love was the only thing that could kill you. His body goes limp. Dead eyes staring at crucifixes that offered no salvation. Costello stands, chest heaving, covered in blood. Marco's his own, the family's. He turns to find Tanya, and what she sees in his face is raw, broken, terrifyingly human. He was right, Costello says. About love being fatal. Sirens wail in the distance. The family stirs, shocked, uncertain who leads them now. The church carnage settles into terrible silence. Bodies sprawl across pews where families once prayed. Stained glass litters the floor like shattered faith. The surviving family members stand in shock, some bleeding, all calculating their next move in a world where the old king is dead and the rules are burning. Costello rises from Marco's corpse, blood painting him like war paint. He doesn't wipe it away. Instead, he walks to Tanya, takes her hand, and faces the assembly with the absolute authority of a man who's just killed his way to certainty. Marco is dead, his voice echoes off desecrated walls. His conspirators are exiled. The old rules died with him. He lifts Tanya's hand, their fingers intertwined like a vow. Tanya Gary is innocent and she is mine. Not as property. Not as protection. As my equal. My partner. My queen. He doesn't ask permission. Doesn't seek approval. Just states fact. 3 underbosses walk out, choosing exile over evolution. Costello watches them go without expression. Then slowly, one by one, the others kneel. Old Antonio first, his weathered face showing something like relief. Then younger members who've seen enough blood to know when the tide has turned. Gianna approaches, wounded but smiling, and kneels before them both. Long live the king, she says. And his queen. The coronation is blood-soaked. Perfect. Final. Later, as sirens fade and bodies are disappeared, Costello leads Tanya to the East Wing garden. The shrine to his mother has grown wild. Roses and thorns tangled together, beauty and pain inseparable. He kneels in the dirt, expensive suit ruined beyond repair, and begins digging with bare hands. Tanya joins him without question. Together they plant new roses. Red as blood, red as love, red as the empire they'll build together. I didn't save you to preserve my conscience, Costello says quietly, dirt under his fingernails, vulnerability cracking his marble facade. The moment I saw you moving through my house like a ghost, something dead inside me remembered how to feel. He looks at her and his eyes are raw. You made me want to be more than the monster my father created. Tanya's hands cup his face, thumbs brushing away blood and dirt and the weight of decades. Then be more. With me. For me. Because of me. The kiss tastes like smoke and redemption. His hands grip her waist, pulling her against him in the garden where his mother died, where new life now grows from soil soaked in old tragedies. When they break apart, the sun is setting over Cleveland. Their city, their empire, their kingdom forged in fire. Everything changes now, she whispers. Everything already has, he answers. They walk back toward the mansion, hands intertwined, and Costello's phone buzzes. He checks it, jaw tightening. Unknown number. Congratulations on your victory. But empires built on love burn the brightest. And the fastest. A friend. He shows Tanya. She reads it, and instead of fear, her smile turns sharp, dangerous. The smile of a woman who's survived execution and learned to aim for the heart. Let them come, she says, voice steel wrapped in silk. We survived execution, poison, and betrayal. We'll survive whatever's next. Costello pulls her close, kissing her forehead with devastating gentleness. Together. Always, she promises. They stand in the mansion's grand entrance as night falls. Behind them, remnants of the old guard burn. Files, evidence, the chains of tradition turn to ash. The flames paint them in gold and shadow, king and queen of an empire reborn. Somewhere in the darkness, new enemies gather. New threats emerge. But Tanya and Costello are no longer captor and captive, boss and maid, protector and protected. They're partners. Equals. Two people who found love in the last place they should have looked and claimed it with blood and bullets and absolute conviction. Whatever war comes next, they'll face it together. Costello's hand tightens on hers. Ready. Tanya's other hand rests on the gun at her hip. A gift from him, a symbol of everything they've become. Always, she says again. They step forward into their empire, backlit by fire, hands intertwined, ready for whatever darkness dares to challenge the light they've fought so hard to claim. The door closes behind them with the finality of a beginning. And there you have it. Tanya went from fighting for her life to becoming the queen of a criminal empire. All while falling for the most dangerous man in Cleveland. Not your typical love story, right? So here's my question for you. Do you think they'll survive whatever threat is coming next? Drop your predictions in the comments because I love reading your theories. And if you enjoyed this dark, twisted romance, please hit that like button and subscribe. Trust me, you don't want to miss what happens next in their story. Book 2 is coming, and let's just say, some enemies don't stay dead and some secrets are deadlier than bullets. Also, I've got another incredible story dropping in my next video that you're absolutely going to love. Think forbidden love, even higher stakes, and plot twists that'll leave you gasping. Click that notification bell so you're the first to know when it drops. Thanks for riding this emotional roller coaster with me. Now go forth and tell me, where are you watching from and what was your favorite moment from Tanya and Costello's story? I'll see you in the next video.